Now, before we go into today and just get obsessed with what's going on with Nvidia, there is a lot of things taking place that I just want to show you here, and definitely concerning. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome to Compounding Capital. My name's Colton. We work on fundamental analysis on this channel, but today I want to talk a little bit more macro, and I also want to talk about possible opportunities or where you should be thinking about when we talk about investing late cycle. Now, the crazy thing is as of right now, as of this recording, right around 8 a.m., futures are up. This is on the back of Nvidia reporting earnings last night. They did beat on top and bottom line. They're guiding for strong revenue going forward, but it wasn't enough to surprise the street or to catch the street off guard. It basically was an in-line type of earnings when we look at what expectations are for this company. Now, on the contrary, a lot of experts are coming out and upgrading the stock even more. There's a lot of Fomo dealt with this stock. So what do I think is going to happen with Nvidia today, and what do I think is going to happen with the overall market? I think the overall market's possibly going to be a little bit choppy today. I also think the initial knee-jerk reaction on Nvidia is going to be possibly a 3 to 5% move to the downside, maybe a little bit more, but I also think it's going to close pretty much flat to possibly green because of how many eyes are on the stock, and because now there's less places for money to go, as we did talk about the US Treasury market. You can still go on the short end of the yield curve and yield over 5%, with anything 4 months and shorter is still yielding over 5%. The problem becomes if we're looking at 6 months to even 10, 15 years out, the yield curve is not as appealing, especially when we look at a market that's just giving outsized returns and everybody's getting FOMO and everybody's missing out what's going on. But I gotta be honest with you, there's some serious problems underneath this. Dollar General reported earnings and the stock is down 24%. Now, this is on top of being down nearly 11% over the last 5 years. So we're talking about over a 35% move to the downside on a company that should be a kind of a safe haven, a place to hide, a place that should never really be down this much, kind of should trade flat to slightly up consistently, and we're seeing the consumer absolutely being pulled here. There's just no more wiggle room for the consumer, and when we look at a Dollar General, this is definitely eye-opening to me, and when we think about all the companies that actually have filed bankruptcy recently, it's pretty wild to think that the market just keeps going up, but underneath this market, if we really look at the underweight type stocks, the stocks that are actually pretty important to this economy, minus your Walmarts. Walmart is really going to become a monopoly at this point in time. And we might even be looking at Big Lots as the next company to possibly be filing bankruptcy pretty soon. So a few things we can kind of pull from this is, number one, the consumer is definitely getting tapped out. Number two, the top end consumer still seems to be holding in pretty solid. When we talk about companies like Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Big Lots, these are going to be possibly your lower end consumers. And listen, guys, I go into the Dollar Tree or Dollar General every once in a while to pick up some items. It's a great place to get some cheap items, whether it's paper plates, sodas, cleaning supplies. So there's definitely, for me, it's definitely sad to see companies like this struggle, because I actually use them on a daily basis, and it's a nice alternative to the monopoly of going to Walmart all the time. So when we think about consumer staples, I want you guys to stay focused on this, because when we think about grocery chains, sometimes we think that's a defensive place. But when we look at the grocery stores, a lot of the times they're trading with operating margins at 1% and 2%, which means that there's not a lot of wiggle room. And that's why we're seeing problems with Dollar Tree, Big Lots, and we're going to see a lot more grocery chains that are probably going to be really struggling throughout the next few years because the consumer is just so tapped out. But when we think consumer staples, guys, I want you to stay focused on companies like Campbell's Soup, Conagra Brands. But the one that I think is really getting interesting here and is Smucker's. When we look at what Campbell's Soup is trading for, what Conagra Brands is trading for, what Hormel is trading for, I think Smucker's is really compelling, trading at 11 times forward earnings when a lot of these other companies are trading between 13 to possibly 16 times forward earnings, and not actually yielding as much as a company like Smucker's. So that's something I want to keep in your back of your mind. I don't want you guys to go out and buy Smucker's. I already gave price targets. I think anywhere between that 100 to 105 area is really interesting. And then we talk about utilities kind of being a safe haven here. Now, the problem is utilities have had a heck of a run. They're up nearly 21% over the last few months because they're essentially kind of an arm's length play for AI, because we need more energy, we need more grid. Utilities have been a really substantial outperformer. But if we do go into recession and you see utilities sell off, I really think this would be a great opportunity to add in all three of these sectors, guys, healthcare, staples, utilities, I think if we get an initial market sell-off, this is where you want to be hiding. It's not even only hiding, it's the fact that those earnings are probably not going to deteriorate as much as a lot of other sectors might. And what do we always say on this channel? Price action is always going to follow earnings. So if those earnings are going to stay stable, their price is most likely going to stay stable. Now, the knee-jerk reaction in any sort of bad news, if we go to war, if there's a recession, or if there's a slowdown, or if feds have to do emergency rate cuts, we're going to see all sectors most likely sell off. Maybe you'll see something like a gold or the gold miners outperform. And we've talked about positioning those early on in the cycle. We've already mentioned gold miners a few months ago. We've mentioned gold a few months ago. I prefer personally the gold miners over gold because they've been a laggard to the actual underlying asset. But when we look at where we should be taking our focus, it should not be on the high valuation of technology. This is really reminding me of a dot-com bubble where it was really hard to tell the winners and losers. But what we do know is that utilities are going to have to outperform if AI is going to be here. So if you can get utilities at a reasonable valuation, you know that prices are going to go up for energy. You know that they're going to have to grow out their grid, and that AI is going to be reliant on utilities to really be expanding. So that's kind of an easy, simple way to play the AI theme for me personally. Now they've had a heck of a run. I wouldn't be buying them here. I'd be waiting on a pullback or wait for people to get bored with them and start selling them to the hip side because there's more sexier things out there. Same could be said with both healthcare and staples. I think we're starting to see a technology boom in healthcare as we're starting to see companies like Pfizer and I believe it's Eli Lilly really come to market and build technology platforms so people have easy access to healthcare. And that's going to allow higher margins for their business. That's going to allow them to be a little bit more creative on creating different streams of income versus just your traditional, we have to do research and development, we have to beat everybody to the market. That might actually solidify some stability in a lot of these biotech companies' earnings if they have these technology platforms where they can have a substantial amount of people on them and making multiple transactions and possibly having advertising revenue on that as well. I don't know what could come of it, but I think it's pretty interesting that that's the direction that a lot of these big pharma techs are going. So a few things I want you guys to kind of consider before you start diving in and getting FOMO is number one is going to be, what's the valuation of this company compared to their peers? Are we paying a substantial premium to their peers? Number two, do they have compelling earnings? Is this a company that's growing earnings or are earnings staying flat? In this market right now, you definitely need a company that is showing growth. There needs to be some sort of growth to kind of protect you from downside risk, because if the price is going down but yet the earnings are growing, well then you have a big opportunity there. One thing that we don't talk a lot about is going to be management. Is this company well management? Do you trust management to execute in a tough economy with your funds, with your money? You know, I'm not trying to bring up anything bad, but I think we can look at a company like Intel and say, well, geez, the value seems to be there, especially a few different times. The earnings were not there, and management has been kind of questionable on execution over the past few years. And I'm just using them as an example because they always seem to be cheap until they're just not anymore. And I'm using them because we've all seen the chip sector absolutely outperform, except for Intel, who was one of the largest chip producers in the world. So they were positioned well, but they looked like they had value, but the problem was they didn't have earnings growth and management was not executing. I think another company we can kind of put on that list, although I do think management's actually starting to turn things around, is a company that I've pounded my chest on a few different times, and that's going to be CVS. I think I had a recommendation buy between $56 and $55. It's currently pushing 60. So it's been an underperformer to this market. I wouldn't say awful, but definitely underperformer, and it's been pretty volatile. But the last thing I want you guys to really kind of consider here is two different things. Is it defensive, and does it have a good balance sheet? Kind of just reviewing here. If we were to make a checklist of some things that are important going into the late cycle, and we get a pretty significant sell-off, these are four attributes that I think are absolutely important when we start looking today. So if you've missed this tech rally, I wouldn't be chasing it. I wouldn't be buying companies that are trading for 25, 30 times earnings, that are maybe growing their earnings by 4 and 5%. I would actually be looking at companies that are trading at very low valuations, still have earnings stability and earnings growth. You trust the management, it's in a defensive sector, and the balance sheet is pretty clean. Now, this is not me trying to tell you what to do. This is personally what I'm doing. I'm just sharing that with you, and that's where I think you kind of need to be looking right now. Reason being is I do think that we are heading into some really, really tough times, and these are the areas that I think you need to pay attention to. As always, guys, just my opinion. Appreciate your time. We will see you in the next one.